I think the whole world knows this by now, but I guess in case there are like two people that don't, like the death metal crowd like has the appearance of being a very rough and rowdy bunch of people, but the etiquette at these concerts is like pretty well established. Like you might be going there and lining up and like kind of quote unquote beating the shit out of each other, but like if somebody like goes down, like you're picking people up. The goal is not to actually kill somebody. So even though these concerts do have mosh pits, and even though it gets like really crazy, like there is like a general etiquette that's understood among those concert goers that probably doesn't exist yet. Because if I had to guess,
last week's Astroworld Festival, hosted and headlined by Travis Scott, a crowd of more than 50,000 rushed the stage, which resulted in the death of 9 people and injuries to many others, including a 9-year-old who's in coma right now. Travis Scott has a history of encouraging risky behavior from his lyrics, where he says things like, "And it ain't no mosh pit if there ain't no injuries, I got him stage diving out the nosebleeds," to his tweets where he encouraged fans to sneak into his sold-out concerts. He also continued the concert when there was an ambulance in the crowd. The question is, do you think Travis Scott holds responsibility? And if he doesn't, how could something like this have been prevented? So I'm gonna go ahead. Let's start off the introductions with the conservative left-leaning streamer Destiny. Go ahead, bro.
fuck, why are you starting with me on this one? I've seen a lot of different things in terms of like what level of responsibility does an artist have for maintaining a concert. I know there's a lot of people that want to blame Travis Scott's lyrics. I don't know if we can say that if you have lyrics that implicitly encourage rowdy behavior, if that makes you explicitly responsible for something that goes on at one of your concerts. I would probably lean towards no on that. I know that there were statements by I think it was the county police department saying that if he would have just stopped the concert, there could have been like even more riots. So it doesn't seem like that was the right answer. I've also heard that there was like a record number of personnel there to actually staff the event, but then I've also heard that there wasn't enough. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like kind of an unfortunate thing that maybe like as a society we can do better to talk about these things, but I don't know if there's like one individual person that I'd say this guy is at fault for what happened.
Okay, let's go over to Shark. Shark, what do you think?
Sure. So, after looking at a lot of the stuff that happened in all of the videos and reading up on some stuff, I think Travis does hold like some blame for what happened at the concert. I mean, it is his concert at the end of the day. It is his event at the end of the day. And the crews and the personnel there, if something goes wrong, I mean, the buck has to stop with someone. And if it's his event, it has to be him. With that being said, I mean, Travis has a history of encouraging some pretty bad behavior at his concerts. And when I say that, I don't mean just like being rowdy or whatever. It's more like he's told people to jump off things. And there's someone who got like permanently injured, if I remember, in New York. And so, and there have been like other people who've worked for Astroworld and Travis Scott before who said that he has agitated the crowd to do things like actually hurt security guards or dodge security guards, which can lead to a lot of problems. So, I mean, he probably holds some blame. There is a whole staff there at the end of the day. Police were there. What could be done? We're not sure necessarily, but we're gonna have to see as time goes on. I mean, he is getting sued, so.
Okay, thank you. Let's go over to Dr. Red Pill.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. The buck does stop with him, so I would think he would be trying to hire someone to oversee this and sort of like manage like the conscientious aspects of the venue. Like he shouldn't be personally responsible for the details, but like finding a good person to deal with those details and like keep everything running smoothly does kind of stop with him. As far as like the way he promotes that kind of risky behavior, I think, yeah, he should probably reel it in a little bit, and maybe something like this where he gets a lot of backlash is gonna like snap something and make him consider it more carefully. Yeah, that's all I got for now.
Okay, let's go over to Kevin.
Yeah, I don't know that there's going to be a great deal of divergence of opinion on this one. As the host of the event, he holds some responsibility, and he's going to get sued to fuck, obviously, because people died. But in terms of his lyrics, I don't think you can hold someone's responsible for having rowdy lyrics. Rock and roll singers have been singing about doing all kinds of crazy shit for years, and we don't blame them for, well, anything really, outside of, I don't know, satanic panic madness or something, which I think we all accept is wrong. So yeah, I don't think his lyrics are responsible for anything. And R.I.P. to the people who died.
Way to go, Heem. You fucked it all up.
Bro, just you wait. If anything, I'll debate all of you by myself. I don't give a fuck. Let's go over to Ariana.
Yeah, I don't know if I would really blame the lyrics. I think it's hard. I was the only person that had the pleasure to actually interview his old manager that had a seizure in his basement in 2013. And I think his whole entire fan base and marketing is completely manufactured. I mean, his fan base, they're kind of like a rock R&B. When they first started him, they marketed him towards a very specific audience and niche. And I think what he's cultivated is just very different. I mean, in 2015, he was arrested on charges of inciting the crowd to jump over barriers. And then in 2017, he was also arrested for similar charges. So I think this was kind of coming in a sense. I don't know if I expected as big of a tragedy or if anyone really did, but I do believe that he kind of has this whole message of like, no bystanders, ragers only. And I don't know if I would only blame it on his lyrics though. I don't think it's just that. I think it's a whole environment that he's been able to cultivate within the years.
Okay. And let's go to Rob.
Yeah, I don't have really strong feelings on this, to be honest. I didn't know who Travis Scott was until this incident. I've read a little about it. So, I guess I agree a lot with what people are saying here. Some things that I might have a bone of contention with. I don't blame lyrics at all. And I also don't, I guess I would have to ask once we get into the general discussion. I assume he didn't own this venue. It's probably something that he rented out. So if it's true that he did poor things in the past that led to people being skeptical of whether this would get out of hand, then you almost have to blame the venue for allowing someone like that to come in. Look, I've been to concerts. The first concerts I ever went to were the Dead Kennedys, 6 Feet Under, Slayer, stuff like that. Some of those bands literally tell people, line up on this side, run at each other, beat the shit out of each other. I've seen people get hurt. Never once was it brought up that their lyrics or their claims should criminally, at least at the concerts I was at. So, whatever he said in the past, whatever his lyrics are, if he didn't directly tell people like rush in and stomp people, I don't know how you could legally hold him accountable. I guess it depends on what the laws are. Morally, I'd like to think if it was me, I would stop once I knew that people were being crushed and being killed. But he saw an ambulance. It could have been anything. Someone could have had a heat stroke. Like, if you're on stage and you see that, are you going to stop your concert? I don't know. So, I don't have strong feelings other than I feel terrible for the people that were injured and the people that died. But I don't know how much culpability goes on the guy.
All right. Since you guys all seem to be agreeing, I'm going to debate every single one of you on this
Jesus.
topic. Okay?
Can I point something out real quick relating to like death metal concerts or whatever? So
go ahead.
I think the whole world knows this by now, but I guess in case there are like two people that don't, like the death metal crowd, like has the appearance of being a very rough and rowdy bunch of people, but the etiquette at these concerts is like pretty well established. Like you might be going there and lining up and like kind of quote unquote beating the shit out of each other. But like if somebody like goes down, like you're picking people up. The goal is not to actually kill somebody. So even though these concerts do have mosh pits and even though it gets like really crazy, like there is like a general etiquette that's understood among those concert goers that probably doesn't exist yet. Because if I had to guess, because God knows I don't listen to fucking Travis Scott, that audience is probably a bit younger and doesn't have that background or that exposure to those types of events. And when you look at stuff on TV, mosh pits do just look like a ton of people trying to stampede and murder each other. So I can understand why maybe his fans might engage in the behavior kind of superficially, but they don't understand the etiquette that goes around like ensuring the safety of everybody in that event.
Okay, so here's my contention, okay? First of all, this show was sold out in May. This guy fucking tweeted, "It's sneak in," okay? And then, like, I don't know. Do you guys think that that's appropriate? That's one thing. Another one, people rushed the gates and, like, overthrew the security right before the concert even started. Don't you think that maybe the concert should have been canceled or at least postponed? Like, do you just continue when there's literally immediately holes in your logistics right off the bat?
I don't think that popular music artists saying a thing is necessarily makes them culpable for other people's actions. Like rock musicians have been telling people to take drugs and fuck freely for years. Does that mean they're somehow complicit in AIDS or fucking opioid epidemic? Like, no, that's These are individual people. If you rush in the thing, you're a fucking idiot, you know.
And also on that specifically, like, I don't know. I would assume that it was an outdoor venue, right? But I would assume that there's still something like local police and fire marshals that are there and aware of this. So wouldn't that be their call? If they saw that, like, whoa, we think this is getting more than we could manage. Like, I don't know what the culprit, like, maybe there's someone head of security or someone that makes that call. But I don't know if you leave it up to an artist. Like, what the hell does he know about security? If someone comes in and goes, hey, we think that things are getting out of hand and security won't be able to handle it. He's not qualified to make that call.
He was the organizer of the event.
I mean, we say he was the organizer, but that's probably a name, right? Like, I could be wrong, but I seriously doubt he has, like, firsthand organizing any of this. He's probably got, like, a company or talent or whatever behind him that takes care of these type of day-to-day things, right?
Would you guys... Yeah, go ahead.
He like painted himself into a corner as far as like stopping it when it got out of hand, because his whole brand is like rage, like keep raging. To like ask him to like stop, it's like such a like buzzkill.
Well,
like,
that's where I'm saying he holds the responsibility.
Yeah, but if you brand yourself like that, it's so hard to reel it in and like try and slow down the action, I think.
And what about when go ahead. Actually, one more thing I want to say. What about when he sees the ambulance with the siren on in the crowd? And, like, he just says, like, put your middle fingers in the air if you guys think that we should just continue the show. Obviously, like, everyone's going to put their... what kind of measurement is that of, like, security and stuff?
And also, people had their hands in the air. They were trying to flag down some security people and ambulances. And once he did that, they got completely drowned out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, his manager told me that the whole entire crowd is completely manufactured. So that the same etiquette that goes into rock concerts and mosh pitting does not exist with Travis Scott audience because they just don't know.
Wait, what is you keep saying manufactured? What does that mean?
So basically, when he started managing Travis Scott, they all knew that he couldn't be the next YG or Nipsey Hussle because that's really just not his brand or the way that he raps and stuff like that. So they basically, he put it this way. He said that they had to manufacture a whole kind of fan base. And he said that they specifically targeted teenage white males. And they kind of created this whole raging kind of like punk rock, but rap kind of like audience. And so within this, he would really promote raging and stuff like that within his concert.
14-year-old white kids.
Sorry,
what was that?
What did you... Oh, sorry. I think he was trying to think out loud to himself. Go ahead. Keep
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, sorry. So, oh man, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, basically, anyways, they basically had to manufacture his whole entire fan base because they just couldn't make him into the next Nipsey or YG. His whole entire fan base, they were targeting young white men, white teenagers, and they would start raging and moshing, but that same etiquette that goes into, mosh pitting and other concerts and rock environments was non-existent when, Travis had concerts, and he kind of promotes this crazy rager environment. So it was kind of the recipe of disaster, if you ask me. That's what
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that Twitch creators are responsible for their chat and stuff in some way?
To some level, we all have some degree of responsibility, of course. And then what actions happen, we also have some degree of responsibility. But I mean, like, you have to have a deeper conversation about this, right? Like, if you're on stream every day being like, I hate this person, we need to get this person, guys, we're gonna get him, and then somebody does something, then yeah, you have like some level of responsibility, of course. But if you like get into a fight with somebody and then you have a large fan base and somebody goes and they do something horrible, like, do you really have that level of responsibility? I probably would not agree with that. It depends on like the type of messaging, I guess, you are sending out to your audience.
Okay, but I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but like, didn't you just accuse Mix Vivian Wolf of being a stochastic terrorist yesterday?
Yeah, but I would say that when you're on the level of intentionally spreading misinformation, when you're demonizing groups of people, and then when you're encouraging other people to murder other people that disagree with your political beliefs, I think that's way the fuck over the line of whatever I'm talking about.
Has she encouraged someone to murder?
Yeah, so Vivian's entire argument was that if you believed that there were any right-leaning groups coming to your city to protest, that you have a right to kill them if they come to your town. That sounds to me like encouragement to murder, or at the very least, like an explicit endorsement of it, especially when you're doing it on grounds of political beliefs and misstated political beliefs, right? When you're calling like all of a group of people fascists or white nationalists when they're not really. So yeah, I think that's way over the line for that.
So you think Mix Vivian Wolf's rhetoric is more dangerous than like Travis Scott telling his his fans to rage. And
It seems like a really
sneak
loaded
in,
topic
sneak.
that I feel bad about if she's not here to defend herself. I don't know if we should
Okay,
all be
that's
talking
fair
about her.
In general, but in general,
Yeah, I mean, we
like,
can pull it back. Yeah.
okay, in general, though, there's a complete difference between saying, for example, the same would be if Travis Scott came out and said, if this group of people shows up to my concert, kill them. You have the right to kill them. That's not what Travis Scott said. Travis Scott saying, hey, get out of control. Like, that's not saying
he
stomp someone to death.
Sorry, Rob. So he literally tweeted out after the show was sold out, like, nah, we're still letting the wild ones in. Like, the wild ones, like, try to sneak in and stuff. Like,
That's not a direct call to death. And you could say
really?
that it's
not
definitely...
death, not death, of course. I mean, like, to sneak in and unsafe. He's promoting unsafe behavior, in my opinion.
All right, if we're going down that road, couldn't we argue that, like, and I'm not here to stand for Travis Scott, but doesn't every fucking rock artist / rap artist encourage a whole bunch of fucking unsafe behavior, whether we're talking about, like, drugs or sneaking into concerts or, you know, doing dumb shit? Like, I think that's kind of like par for the course, right?
I mean, Abby Hoffman had a book called Still This Book, to which System of a Down had an album called Still This Album.
Yeah.
I don't think they were literally, oh, well, everyone that got arrested for stealing that album, System of a Down's responsible. I don't think so.
Would you say it's comparable to the January 6th thing?
Jeez, we're really going for the loaded topic. So, like,
Listen, I'm very, very. I'll be straight up with you guys.
Can I just
think he
say-
holds a lot of responsibility.
well, I think
A
the
lot.
difference here's like the problem. And honest to God, because you fucking Zoomers fuck the whole world up, okay? Because you're also brainless, okay? We can't use the argument anymore that like it's just entertainment or it's just a game. Because the thing is that like when Travis Scott says some shit, or at least it was understanding when I was a kid, if your favorite artist says some shit like fuck some shit up, dude, right, buck the system, blah 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 blah. Yeah, there's like to some extent there's like a metaphorical message there, but you're not actually supposed to go out and do that shit. It's entertainment, it's music, right? I think there's a fundamental difference between that and a political leader trying to, you know, establish some reality about a political situation. So I would say that a politician, especially a head of state, has a lot more responsibility in their messaging than a music artist. I would say these things are worlds apart.
There's also
And
like
we
a
don't-
there's like a voluntary aspect where everyone that signed up for the Travis Scott concert kind of like bought into that brand. So it's almost like I don't think they should be blamed, but they kind of knew what they were signing up for, more or less. Like they didn't expect to die, but you want to be in that environment.
Hold on.
I just want to clear up, like the Capitol thing was like people went to like a different place where people didn't want them there. They tried to force their way in. That makes it different.
Go ahead, Ariana.
I don't think they signed up to die though. Like I don't know if
No,
that's
for
the
sure.
right thing to say.
No, but
Also,
to be in a dangerous environment and you all want to like rage together and crazy shit happened. It sucks.
But raging happens all the time though. It very rarely ends up the way that it did now, like
People
with
dying.
Travis Scott's concert.
I mean, and also he's been arrested for this before, right? A guy fell out of the upper tier and got paralyzed, and he was arrested for that. Travis Scott, like,
didn't he
this
not
isn't-
just like? I don't think the guy just fell. Didn't he tell him explicitly to jump?
He told him explicitly to jump off of the third floor. That's
Yeah,
Yeah, he
that's a
was
bit
like, "Hey,
different, I would
jump!"
say.
Yeah, he saw him.
He's
He's like,
like-
"I see you, boy. Jump. They're gonna
Yeah.
catch
and
you."
he's paralyzed.
And he
if I'm
fought-
not
oh my-
mistaken.
I mean, they didn't catch
Well,
him.
I do hope he faced legal consequences for that, because that's like encouraging someone to do like attempted suicide or whatever. Like, what the fuck is that?
Well, so arrest is boring. Don't tell us who got arrested. Did he actually get like did he get convicted
I'm
of
pretty
anything?
sure he got convicted on it, but
Okay.
I'll.
It would be interesting to know the
Uh,
actual
I-
convictions there, rather than because you can get arrested for anything, right?
I think he was. Hang on 1 second.
So,
Here, it says
okay.
he was. You go ahead, Ariana, while I read this.
So August 1st, 2015, he pled guilty to disorderly conduct and he paid a fine. And then on May 13th of 2015, he pled guilty to a misdemeanor disorderly conduct and he also had to pay a fine. I don't know if this was exactly that situation, but he's definitely pled guilty multiple times to inciting riot and those kind of
Well, that's
charges.
ridiculous.
Please, no.
Fining a rich person, especially when that's worth it, because actually he'll get the publicity that's probably commensurate or more valuable than the money he's paying out in a fine, is not really a punishment. That's nothing.
And
Yeah,
disorderly
sure, but we're
conduct's
just-
nothing. Like that's a catch-all that you basically all of us are probably guilty of disorderly conduct in multiple states every day. Like if you're playing your music too loud, you can get arrested for disorderly conduct. Now, and again, I don't understand why that's relevant to the situation here. Again, that would be relevant in the sense that you would say, as a township, we don't want this guy here. because we think that he's done horrible things in the past. But you can't, once you allow the venue to have him be there, then the question is what he did this specific time, is he responsible? And I haven't seen anything or even heard anything discussed here where he would be legally responsible for people dying just because he was like, hey, everybody rage out. That's what every artist, so many artists say.
Yeah, so I think the problem is that based on how we build this line of argumentation out, he's made bad statements. We're essentially saying Travis Scott has made bad statements in the past. If Travis Scott has ever made a bad statement, then anything that happens at his events is his fault. Something bad happened at this event, therefore it's his fault, right? I think that like premise 2 there kind of doesn't work, because what we're basically saying is no matter what happens at this concert, let's say he's like the most responsible person ever, and he's trying to say like, hey guys, be safe, blah, 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 blah. Like, would we still be having this conversation where people are like, well, look at his past tweets, right? It feels like that would still happen. So I think we would be, right?
You think so? I would say, go ahead, sorry.
As he acts more reckless, and like that pattern is established, and he's not like changing course into like a better direction, he becomes more culpable for it because he has more time to appreciate like the damage he might cause.
Yeah, but if nothing has really happened that bad in the past, then why would he assume that, like, right? Maybe it is for them all fun and games. A couple people get injured, it's a concert, whatever. But aside from that guy that jumped or whatever, or he didn't even die.
Yeah.
Right? If nobody's died before,
Sorry, just
reasonable.
to clarify what happened in that situation, apparently the guy jumped and he was fine. He landed in the crowd, but later that night, someone in the crowd pushed someone else off the railing, and that person broke their back.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So that's even more different. Yeah. I don't know if it's fair to assume then that like he should be like held so liable for this event because of tweets or lyrics that he's made in the past.
Sure.
We also have to be so careful for that. Not to be a First Amendment cuck, but like if we start holding artists like criminally responsible for stuff in their lyrics, we're drawing a very short line from there to like criminalizing certain forms of music or just certain lyrics altogether. I think we should be careful for that.
Can I just say that I think the big winner in all of this is Heemed, because he sold this as a topic. I thought this was going to die on its ass,
I'm
but he
still
sold
committed
it.
to it. Listen,
Well,
I think. Listen, I'm going to debate you guys. I don't give a fuck.
No,
Okay.
fair- no,
I
look,
think,
look, kudos, tip of the cap to you. Yeah.
Listen, I think
Money
that
man.
if you're an artist and there's an
Only for the
ambulance with sirens on stuck in the crowd, that the very least you can do is say, "Hey, move out of the way for the ambulance." Not say, "Put your middle fingers in the air if you're okay," and we go on to the next song. There's literally
There was
videos of
literally
people-
a guy dancing on the ambulance too.
Yeah.
Like you saw that. Like he was dancing on the ambulance to the point where the ambulance couldn't even move, even if they did open up the crowd, because there were people on top of the ambulance.
Yeah,
I
there were
gotta be
several
honest,
people
I'm
dancing on
shocked.
the ambulance. It was kind of, it
Jesus.
was not good.
So that
I'm
is a
shocked
point.
at I'm shocked at how little you guys think that he's responsible for this. Like,
It's just
he
it's a
didn't
scary
stop
line
the
because when you
show.
start holding people responsible here, and then also the direct course of action is hard to say, right? So we say like he should have stopped the show. So if we've learned anything after all the BLM stuff, after all the concert stuff, after everything, right? Controlling huge groups of people is really fucking hard. I don't know how safe that environment becomes if Travis Scott literally stops playing music and the whole crowd starts to get like edgy. I don't know. Like again, that was one of the concerns that was echoed by the police department.
That's not the question. I think the thing, like, this is almost like, I know the fire in the crowded theater isn't technically like against freedom of speech, but this is a situation where the ambulance is right in front of you. You can see the crowd, and you can, as with that power, the guy with the microphone, you can cajole them to like do the right thing and like make way
Just
for
move a little.
like to do the opposite of that and be like, fucking rage, we're not going to shut it down.
Yeah,
It just,
exactly.
it like gasses people up, and they're just
True, but
more bad
as
shit
to-
to happen.
As to the point Destiny was making, that this is has precedent. I think was it in the early '90s, a Guns N' Roses concert ended up with some people dying when there was basically a riot because they were breaking off chairs and throwing them on the stage, and they just decided to stop the concert, and a fucking riot ensued, and like
You could say,
places got burnt down. You know,
this is what I would do if I was Travis Scott. I would say, all right, move it out. The quicker the ambulance gets in and out, the quicker we restart it. So like everybody
Exactly.
can comply. It's easy. Like this is not a hard
What-
thing to do.
what
He did
Destiny is
stop.
saying-
He did stop
yeah.
the concert for a moment, though. There was someone who was hurt, and he was like, "Whoa!" And then he told them to move. He stopped. He stopped the song. I'm not sure if he was in the middle of the song or in between a song, but that did happen. And then EMS or whatever were able to get them and then get them out. But
I think the thing that you guys were bringing up about the police saying that if they were stopped, there was a danger that the crowd would have rioted or whatever. I think Destiny brought that up. Underneath that, the fire marshal said, "Yeah, but that's like if you stop the show completely, like end the concert. But as the person that has the mic, they have the most ability to control the crowd, and to put a temporary pause is basically what's being asked of him here." And
Sure, that might have
I
been
don't know.
reasonable.
But
To me, it's unreal.
okay, but here's the thing: like, it sounds like he's a dick. I don't know that that's criminally actionable. You know, I don't even know if it's civilly actionable. Like, yeah, the guy's a jerk. Like I said, I would like to think that all of us, if we were an artist and we were on stage, that we would be like, hey, whoa, looks like there's something there. Let's stop until we get this person to safety, and then we'll keep going. That seems to be the reasonable thing to say. But, you know, I don't know what it's like to have the adrenaline to be in front of, you know, that many people and have this persona that you've put out there. So you're just like, yeah, fuck it. Because I don't think that, did he know that someone got crushed? I mean, he could be thinking someone OD'd, you know, someone had a heat stroke, whatever. Like, I'm just going to keep playing. You know, again, it's a dick move, but I don't know that it's criminal.
I would also say, like, I really like in the United States this idea that, like, incitement to riot that's a very, very serious type of thing, and you need, like, some directly actionable stuff there. Because if we just start saying that, like there's so much that could maybe be an incitement to riot, if we're like, well, he's got violent lyrics, blah 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 blah, that probably is going to put a lot of other speech in the crosshairs that we don't want to do that with.
Maybe that's why we shouldn't have said Trump incited a riot.
This is why
go over there peacefully.
Yeah, so this is why my exact position on that was I believe Trump absolutely incited a riot, but I wouldn't want him like criminally charged with it, because then there's theoretically all sorts of private speech or public speech that could count as like inciting a riot, right? When somebody stirs up a lot of trouble about like we think the police are unfair, and then like there's a BLM protest and it turns into a riot, like are they responsible for that? I think that that's a really bad precedent to set. I think that inciting a riot should be like you need a very specific call to action there. And absent that, I mean, we can talk about like a moral incitement to riot or whatever, but like the legal charge should be reserved only for those cases.
Now, I agree. Do you think that Travis Scott morally, not legally, but like morally incited a riot?
I don't have the concert background to know what the standard expectation. So like a lot of people posted, for instance, a Linkin Park concert. This was all over Reddit, obviously. You probably have all seen
Yeah, I
this
saw
where-
that one as well.
Yeah, and they were like, "Hey guys, like stop. We don't get hurt." Blah blah. I don't. If that was standard practice in all concerts, then I'm looking down on Scott Travis pretty hardcore. But if that's like a pretty unique thing, and most people don't do that, and most artists just expect their concert goers kind of take care of themselves, then I don't really think that much. But this comes down to like what is like the concert going precedent for artists, and I just don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry, did I say Scott?
I think
Travis, whatever.
Yeah,
it's fine.
yeah, you did.
I've only been to two
Last-
concerts, so and one of those were really small, so I don't know. I have seen like videos of other artists doing that, but I'm not sure if that's a common thing or how common it is for an artist to see something in the crowd and then stop the show for a moment and ask for like security or something. I don't know. So
I've been to a Kendrick Lamar concert, and Drake showed up randomly, and as soon as
Wait,
Drake
who?
showed up,
What? No, I'm
to a
sorry.
Lamar Kendrick concert, okay, a Lamar Kendrick
Go ahead,
concert,
never mind, I'm
and
sorry.
and then Drake
Player?
Drake comes on, and literally the same thing happened. And the reason that I'm very like I guess maybe you can say I'm like emotionally invested into this is because the same thing happened where the entire crowd pushed forward, and I felt like at that moment like anything could happen. I could literally get trampled, I could die. Like you feel like your life is out of your like you have no control over anything that's gonna happen. So I don't know, to know that that's happening in the crowd and to not stop it. And then even at this concert, after this happened, Drake came on and like further agitated the crowd. So he's being sued for it too. It's like, I don't know, while I agree that maybe there isn't like an official standard, it's like the standard, like Rob was saying, is just don't be a dick. Like be a good person. Like when you see an ambulance in a crowd, and you have the ability to move the crowd open, I don't know, maybe that should be the standard.
Wow.
Like, I wonder if there's like going to be civil action against if there was a security company or the fire marshals. Like, just in the little town where I live, if there's a concert at one of the bars, fire marshals sit there, and when there's too many people in the building, they're like, that's it, no one else could come in. And if it gets out of hand, the fire marshal will just stop it right there. Like, it has nothing to do with the artist could say, no, I want to keep playing. Sorry, tough luck. So I wonder if there was culpability for, you know, sort of law enforcement type people that, you know, maybe it was out of their hands. Maybe they tried to stop it and couldn't. I don't know. I haven't read about that, but, you know.
All right.
from what I've read, and correct me if I'm wrong, just to make sure. This is like a pretty new thing, and we're still getting a lot of information. From what I've read and heard so far is that it was called a mass casualty event about 40 minutes before it actually ended, and Travis
That's true,
did finish
yeah.
his set for that. And so people are looking at the police for did they really need to let the set keep going? Could they, at the very least, told Travis to pause or get a hold of anyone for that?
Yeah, it was announced a mass casualty event at 9:38 p.m. and then the performance stopped at 10:10. So that's about 32 minutes from when it was announced to be a mass casualty event and when the concert actually ended. So I don't even. But here's the thing, though, like calling Travis a dick, I don't even know if like there's so many players in this. Apple and Hulu were apparently streaming. Travis was at the concert. Drake was coming on as a guest, so they also had obligations to him. There were sponsors. Like there's so many different players in this.
What is it with Drake turning up and starting riots?
It's something
The man's a
fucking
monster.
wrong with Aubrey.
Be watching
okay?
the Raptors.
I hate Aubrey. Fuck that guy. He's killing people. He's a demon.
True.
Jesus.
True.
This isn't new, by the way. If you want to see it even more crazy, I think it was 79. The Stones played at a place called Altamont, and they hired the Hells Angels as security, and then they stabbed a guy to death. Like that happened. Like for
Well, wait, hold on.
Rock and roll
Did the guy deserve it? What happened?
They
need more information.
The Hells
Okay?
Angels claim
The
claimed he deserved it, but I mean that situation. Obviously, if you're hiring, a motorcycle gang to be your security, things could get crazy. So I mean, Woodstock '99, there was a lot of crazy shit that happened there. Like they were charging people like $40 for bottles of water, and people were having heat strokes and stuff. So I mean, those are situations I think that it's more clear cut that the people that put on the show had sort of negligence to the point where it could have rose to a criminal or at least a civil level. I haven't heard anything other than Travis Scott was a dick that didn't say, hey, everybody pause for a minute. I'm not really concerned about his past behavior or him saying, everybody rage. Like, that's nothing. That's 90% of the concerts I went to said stuff like that. It's on the crowd to know that, look, there's a limit to this. You can't, and you're absolutely right, Heem. I've been to concerts that aren't even concerts that you would consider are violent. If you're up front and you're against that gate and the people start pushing, particularly like when the band comes out, sometimes you feel like all the air is coming out of you. I've seen security have to pull people over the gate many, many times because of that. But I think that any of those concerts I were at, if someone was really struggling, they would be like, whoa, help that person out. Travis Scott apparently just didn't notice or give a shit, I guess.
All right,
Wait, Rob, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rob, so what if I'm on stage? All right, I'm on stage, I'm vibing, I'm doing my set, and then someone reaches up on stage and takes my goddamn shoe. All right? And then I look at the person and I go, beat his ass. I go to the crowd, look at that guy, beat his ass. Am I culpable there if that guy gets hurt?
Yes.
Okay.
If you direct violence towards someone and then violence is enacted upon them, I think so.
Damn, but if the guy stole your shoe,
I think Travis
oof.
Scott. I mean, there's been Axl Rose made a career out of trying to beat the shit out of people taking flash photography at his shows, or yelling at people or trying to steal their cameras and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, at that level, you're certainly more.
Yeah, but Axl Rose reminds me of the picture from the painting of Dorian Gray. Like all of the fucking evil has come back to haunt him, man. He looks fucking rough. Looks like someone dredged his corpse out of a canal.
Has anyone
rock in the
taken into
headband.
consideration that flash photography can give you a headache? So it may be assault, honestly.
All right, fuck this. All right,
But he was on lots of heroin, so I feel like that might be a bigger problem.
He's sensitive.
all right. Listen, I'm getting bored of this topic. You guys,
I started bored of the fucking topic.
Listen, I cannot believe
Person
you
that
guys-
picked the topic too.
I can't believe you guys don't think he's that responsible. I think he's very responsible.
I don't know what he knew. I just don't know what he knew.
I agree with you. I think he is.
Okay, let me tell you things that I think he knew. Okay, I think he knew that people rushed the security gate, and there's video footage of this where literally they're pushing over the security gate and rushing in, and it's over capacity. I think he knew that there's
It was not over capacity, just so you know.
It was. It wasn't
not.
over capacity. Wait, it wasn't over capacity for the venue, but it was over capacity for the security they had hired, for the security personnel that they had.
Oh, if that's what you mean, then okay.
Yeah. And it was, and also there was an ambulance with the siren on stuck in the crowd.
Elements
and
of
instead of
Travis.
figuring out like, hey, how am I going to figure this out? He said, put your middle fingers in the air if you want to continue the show. To me, all of these are gross negligence, and he should be held fully responsible for this.
Hey, you've squeezed.
He
enough
doesn't
blood out of
care,
his
but
spine,
neither
man.
does
It's
anyone
done.
on his
It's
team.
done.
All right. Let me go. Before we move on. All right, we're moving on. Before we do though,
Look,
I want to get
this
your
topic's
prediction.
so fucking boring. 2 people have left.
Yeah, what the fuck
right,
are you
all right.
doing here, Heem?
All right. Shh.
Oh no.
I'm still new at this.
Heem's career
Okay,
falling
let me-
apart before his eyes.
All right, quick times before we move on. Do you guys think that he will go to jail for this? Yes or no? Let's go, Ariana.
No way. Oh, sorry.
Um, well, as of right now, as of today, there's over 100 lawsuits that have been filed against Travis Scott and Live Nation put together. There were 300 people that were treated, on site. Over 25 people, about or a little bit over 25 people, were transported to the hospital. Do I think he's going to jail for it? Probably not. Usually, rich people don't. But I definitely think he's liable. I mean, okay, here's the thing. When you're on stage, you can see everything. I don't care what anyone says. You can see and you can hear. I mean, there's video footage of people screaming, "Help me," at the same time, synchronized. And there was a pause. He stopped singing, he stopped rapping, whatever he was doing. The people started all together saying, stop the show, stop the show, stop the show, for about 10 to 15 seconds. And then he went on to the next song. I mean, there's video footage of him standing about 10 feet away from a person getting resuscitated on the ground, and he's on above them. So yeah, 100%, he's definitely liable for this. I don't care. It goes beyond him being a dick. This is just unacceptable. It hasn't happened for decades. He should definitely be held responsible. Will he? I don't know. I mean, Kylie Jenner is his baby mama, so I'm not too convinced,
Okay.
But I definitely do think he's liable, and he should definitely go down for this. I mean, whether it was only his fault or not only his fault, people trusted to go to his concert. They trusted that they would be able to at least walk out alive, and he didn't give that to them. So yeah, I think he should go down for it, 100%. Okay. But will he? I don't think so.
Okay. Kevin, jail or no jail?
I don't think so, unless there's some sort of malfeasance on the organisational end and they can get him on corporate manslaughter or something. I don't see him going to jail for anything that we currently are aware of, unfortunately.
Rob, what do you think?
No, I don't think he'll go to jail.
Right.
I'm sure there'll be civil action, and I don't think he should. Also, I'll take a bone of contention with, if you're on stage, you can see everything that's happening in a crowd of 50,000. I don't believe that. I mean, I've been on stage in front of 500 people, and I couldn't see everything that was going on there. Now I think it's evident that he saw an ambulance. I'm not going to say.
Yeah, you can see that one.
But as far as what caused that ambulance, he probably had no clue. And so I agree with Kevin. Based on what I've heard here, I don't see a reason for him to go to jail. And even if I don't think he's going to jail.
All right, Dr. Redpill, quick yes or no? Is he going to go to jail?
Yeah, no jail. He's a dick, but like Destiny said, it's important to protect that and keep that precedent.
The dickness, the ability to be a dick.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Be a dick,
I mean, what is the First Amendment but the ability to be a dick? Yeah,
fair
I'm
enough.
pretty
That's
sure.
true. All right, Destiny, you agree? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
All right, Shark, you agree? No jail.
Yeah, he won't go to jail for this at all. I mean, it's gonna look really bad on him. Just publicly, he'll 100% lose in the court of public opinion. But in actual court, I know more likely than not, this won't lead to him serving any jail time at all. All I gotta say is, I want to hold off on saying what he actually knew until some court things happen or he says what happens. I just want to hold off on that personally. But I do think that we can assume that he saw at least something but didn't act. But for me, all I wish is that him and Aubrey had fun playing skee ball at Dave & Buster's when they got done.
All right, there you go. First topic's done. You guys are all wrong on this. I'm right, and we're gonna move on to the next topic.